Hi, Real World Elementary School Board. I am Julia Salisbury. I am the new elementary school physical education teacher, and I am going to go over my syllabus for educational games, educational dance, and educational gymnastics, and my grading skills for all the grades. So for my first syllabus, I am going to go over for educational games. So week 1, we are just going to be practicing basic skill development. We're going to do proper dribbling, one hand fingertips, no carries, close to body and elbow to waist, and dribbling with both hands. So like dribbling with left, dribbling with right. And then week 2, we're going to be dribbling while moving. So week 1 is just like standing in place, and now we're going to have the students be moving. Dribbling while turning in a circle, both hands, dribbling while walking in a straight line, both hands, and keeping the ball low. We want the ball below waist, so this will help students do that. Week 3 is dribbling while running and directional dribbling. Stopping but maintaining dribbling, so like holding, like telling students to stop but keeping their dribbling, both hands, shuffling while dribbling, and both hands, and keeping the ball low again. And then week 4 is dribbling skills, crossover dribbling, dribbling between legs. Advanced learners can progress with the spider drill and patterns. Between the legs, we might have students just stand stationary, have their feet like staggered, and just have them pass the ball between their legs. And then week 5 is assessments using the educational games lesson plans below. So that's where you're going to see all the progressive from standing to walking to running, and then certain stuff like that. So my grading scale for kindergarten there's an S+, so excellent. That's performed in all instructions correctly, never lost control of the ball, remained in appropriate space at all times, followed directions, sat quietly when asked, no cheating, and demonstrated appropriate pathways. And then an S, very good, minor issues in 1 to 2 areas above. S-, minor issues in 3 to 6 of the areas. And P is minor issues in all areas and or major issues, non-performance in one area. And then an N is major issues in more than 2 areas. And then my grading scale from 1st to 4th are the same. Just in where you see a 4, the activities are going to be different. So a 4 is completed all tasks, never lost control of ball even when dribbling with non-dominant hand, follow all directions, stayed in the space at all times, demonstrated appropriate pathways, always stopped. So these are the activities. So stopped on red and went on green, was never the last one to finish, and cheered on my classmates. 3 are minor issues in less than 4 areas. 2 minor issues in 4 or more areas and or major issues, non-performance in 1 area. And a 1 is minor issues with 2 or more areas. And then my 5th grade grading scale is an A, completed all tasks, never lost control of the ball even when dribbling with non-dominant hand, followed all directions, stayed in space at all times, demonstrated appropriate pathways, was never first out in dribble tag, or was one of the last 5 in, challenged him/herself with the different/advanced dribbling in polyspot. A B would be minor issues in 3 or fewer areas, performed dribbling skills in polyspot, but not advanced or challenging skills. A C would be minor issues in more than 3 areas, but not all. And a D would be minor issues in all areas or major issues, non-performance in 1 area. So that's for educational games. My next one would be educational gymnastics. So this would be the syllabus for that. And so for week 1, we're just, again, starting off with the basic skills development, basic agility / range of movement. We want to see how far the kids can move. Week 2 would be extending the range of motion, balancing, basic conditioning. We don't want to push the kids too hard. Week 3, extending range of motion, stretching, balancing, basic conditioning again, and building strength. And then week 4 would be extending the range of motion, stretching, balancing, building strength, core strength also. And then week 5 would be assessment using the educational gymnastics lesson plans below. So now, again, my grading scale for K through 5 are the same. For kindergarten, it's the S+, so always clears the line during warm-ups, performs all poses, no falls, demonstrated poses for balance poses, successfully carrying beanbag both ways without dropping, is never last, able to carry beanbag using advanced local motion techniques, and listens, of course. And S is minor issues in 1 to 2 areas, and S- is minor issues in 3 to 6 areas, and a P is minor issues in all areas or major issues in 1 area, non-performance. And then N is major issues in 2 or more areas and non-performance also. And then again, my 1st through 4th grade grading scales are the same. It's just on the activity, the words changed just a little bit. So a 4 would always cleared the lines during warm-ups, successfully performed all static balance poses, never fell or lost balance, successfully stayed balanced and balanced ball pass, never dropped the ball, and cheered on teammates and listened. A 3 would be minor issues in 3 or fewer areas above. A 2 would be minor issues in more than 3 areas and or major issues in 1 area and non-performance. A 1, major issues in 2 or more areas, non-performance. And then my 5th grade grading scale is an A, always cleared the line during warm-ups, successfully performed all static balance poses, never fell or lost balance, felicitated in design of structure, stayed balanced while in structure, was part of a creative structure, and listened. A B would be minor issues in 1 to 2 areas. A C would be minor issues in more than 2 areas and or major issues in 1 area, non-performance. A D would be major issues in 2 or more areas, non-performance. And so my last syllabus is for educational dance. And for week 1, again, just like the other 2, we are going to start off with basic skill and development, basic agility / range of movement. And week 2 is going to test their vocabulary of dance and the basics, simple movements. Week 3 would be basic dance moves, hips, foot movement, understanding of counts. Week 3 would be transitioning between moves, moving whole body, upper body, lower body, match, and hands are in sync. Week 5 would be assessment using educational dance outline lesson plans below. And so now my kindergarten grading scale for this would be the same as the other 2. So an S+ would be sat quietly when asked, volunteered to imitate an animal movement correctly, appropriate animal, identified all body parts correctly, performed, danced, correctly kept pace without losing track, and correctly participated in close-out activities. An S would be minor issues in 1 to 2 areas. An S- would be minor issues in 3 or more areas. A P would be major issues in 1 area, non-performance, and an N would be major issues in 2 or more areas, non-performance. And my 1st through 4th grade grading scale, sat quietly when asked, correctly imitated appropriate animals during relay and dance, stayed in character for entire leg of relay, performed dance correctly, volunteered to imitate an animal movement, kept pace without losing track, and correctly participated in closeout activity. A 3 would be minor issues in 3 or fewer areas. A 2 would be minor issues in more than 3 areas and or major issues in 1 area, non-performance. And a 1 would be major issues in more than 2 areas, non-performance. And my last grading scale for 5th grade would be A, sat quietly when asked, demonstrate proper when stretching, correctly performed all demonstrated individually the cha-cha slide moves, correctly performed the cha-cha slide combinations, put forward the cha-cha slide in its entirely and correctly added personal flair and dance, and kept pace without losing track. A B would be minor issues in 3 or fewer areas. A C would be minor issues in more than 3 areas and or major issues in 1 area, non-performance. And D would be major issues in more than 2 areas, non-performance. So those are my syllabuses and my grading scales for the semester. I would like to thank you for hiring me as the new physical education teacher. Bye.